prioritize their busy lives.
So, you know, one of the things that I found is that as a mom, we're no longer multitasking, we're megatasking.
Welcome to the broadcast. This is going to be a big call. Hey, Tara, welcome to the broadcast. Janine, welcome. Welcome, guys. I hope you guys are ready. This is a no-filter call. It is a no-filter.
Whatever we do for ourselves is what we are
Invite
giving
your friends,
to our
guys.
family.
Hold it up. I appreciate it. Loft has 40.
I'm always ready to
Tell
work
me your
out.
name.
So I always
Welcome to
bring
the
with me
broadcast.
my jump rope as well as my resistance bands.
Angela
Easy
and
way to
Maria
get your
in
workout
house.
in
Mariah.
any day, anytime.
I
Nicole
love the toolkit,
Lemon.
Mia. How about
Phyllis
dads?
is
Can
here.
dads have one too?
Hey there. There's no
Absolutely.
filter
Dads
in this
create the
call,
best
guys. I'm just
toolkits.
saying.
The deal is
gotta be
just
ready
be
for this
prepared
one.
for wherever you're going to be that day with your family to maximize the day. If you have ever said there are not enough hours in a day, you're going to love my next strategy called blending. Blending is when you are doing something for your children, looking for
you guys
opportunities
hear?
to do something for yourself. You guys, tell me, how are you already blending in your
Guys,
life?
invite
How are
your
you
friends. Heart it
taking
up.
care
It's
of
going to
yourself
be a
while you're taking care of
big,
your
big
children?
call.
I have a best girlfriend who's a trainer who created a way in which we literally work out in her garage.
I'm going to try to do
while
this
our
in
kids
about
play
35
outside.
minutes, so we'll see.
We're getting me time, we're getting mommy time, and our
Thank you
kids
for
are just
inviting your
having a
followers.
good time.
We've had over 283
Hey,
self-care
Tara,
groups,
good to
and
see you.
I think the power of the groups has been that moms have
Happy New
no
Year.
judgment, just camaraderie. You have an opportunity to connect with other women in your demographics of motherhood. And I firmly believe that moms aren't necessarily looking to balance their work and their life. I think what we want more of is joy. Creating opportunities to experience joy on a daily basis in your life is the goal. The next time you and your family need a getaway, try a staycation. What I mean by that is explore
Turn
in
it
your
up, guys.
hometown, play a tourist. This might
Hey,
be exactly what your
Tiffany.
family needs to refuel
Hey, my
and
husband's been waiting for
reconnect,
football. I've been
even in
waiting
the
for
middle
Mia.
of your busy lives.
That's funny. Hey,
Remember,
Phyllis,
when
I'm
mama's
excited.
happy,
This is a big
everyone
call.
else is happy.
Like I said, it's
When
no
most people think of
filter, so I hope
dating,
you're
they
ready.
think of being single, going out on the town, but when you're married with kids, that's when the real dating fun should begin.
Thank you for inviting your followers.
Well,
I
our Mom
appreciate it,
Strategist
guys.
explains why and
We
shares
know more
her
moms
rules
need to
of
hear this
family
message.
dating.
This is something you've probably
Dakota
not thought
is
about,
in
but
the
it's worked
house.
really great for me, and it is dating your family. And, you know, because you have 6 children, one of the things that works terrific is to be able to date at home. And what I get a lot of my clients to do is to create a dating box, and in that box, you
Thank you
and
guys
your
for the
husband
hearts.
can put things that you want to enjoy together. Because sometimes we have opportunities to date our partners, but we don't have a whole lot of time. It might be you have 90 minutes, but by the time he has to go and get the movie or get a meal, the time that you would have spent together is gone.
Thank you, Mia. Thank you for coming.
We're going to get started in about 35 seconds, guys.
Wow.
Invite
Well,
your
welcome.
friends,
We offer
heart it
Time
up.
for Mommy,
Get out your
365 daily strategies
notepads.
for mother's self-care. Mia Redrick. Mia, thank you so much. Stand up, please. Pleasure. I really feel for this family.
You did help them with some tips, but what can we all take away from this?
Well, Dear Time is such a simple way to build quality in your family time and to make self-care a reality every single day. It's simple.
So drop everything and read.
Drop everything and read. It will allow the kids to see mom and dad having some downtime, and it becomes part of the family culture. Self-care.
So what about the fact that she has no
Thank you guys for
time
the
herself?
hearts. I
She sits in
appreciate
the car,
it.
listens to the
Thank you
radio,
for
and lies to
inviting
her
your
husband about
followers.
where she is,
If you're watching the
just so she can have
replay,
a
your
moment to
hearts
read.
count.
So what we talked about
So heart
was
it up. Hey,
giving
Tia,
one another
welcome.
permission without guilt and supporting that time and understanding you need that when you have 2 young children. They're a couple that wants to be together. They don't want to be apart. And so you can see that
Hey,
when they start
darling.
to date, just to dance together, they reconnect immediately.
I saw you covering your ears when that was happening. Why?
It's emotional.
Yes, it is. Because I love my husband and we all forget why we got married.
We got to help more families, guys. We got to help more families here. Hear my people. I'm going to flip the camera. Who said that? Tara, thank you. You're a genius. You are a genius. I am Mia Redrick. It takes a genius to call a genius. I am Mia Redrick. I am the Mom Strategist, and I support mostly moms with life and business success. My husband tells me never to play with my hair while I'm doing these things, okay? You can tell I listen to him, right? I support mostly moms with life and business success. I've coached over 400 clients. 112 of my clients are authors. Half of them are #1 Amazon bestsellers, and I'm really excited about it because it means that people are taking what they know, packaging what they know, and getting what they know out there in the world, and I'm totally into that. Now, if you've missed some of my past scopes, you can check me out on Catch, KATCH.me, or you can sign up for my newsletter, right, at miaredrick.com, miaredrick.com. Now, tonight, I need to pull my notes, guys, because I hope you have some water, because I'm getting ready to bring it. I'm gonna bring it on this one, and so you need to be comfortable. Make sure all your girlfriends in the house that are moms. So if you know women who are moms that need to hear this message about self-care and how it makes you better, how it influences every single thing that you do, get them on the line. Like, I'm gonna give you guys like maybe 10 seconds to invite your followers that you haven't, Facebook, Twitter, on Periscope, because we need to support more moms. Okay, that's my only intention, is to support more moms. All right, so let me pull my notes. 1 second. Hey, Baker girl, welcome to the broadcast. 1 second. Okay. All right, so today we're going to talk about the reasons that self-care and motherhood go together. You guys ready for this? Somebody say ready. All right, if you are ready for this message, somebody say ready, okay? Because I'm going to bring it today. Now, I'm going to hope that we're friends already, right? We're friends, and sometimes, you know, good friends have to tell the truth. And that's what I'm going to do on the scope tonight, is talk about why self-care and motherhood go together, all right? All right, you're ready. Okay, Janine. Anybody else ready? Okay, ready. Okay, great. Because I think a lot of times in motherhood, we don't talk enough about the truth about motherhood. Sometimes we don't talk enough about how we need to show up as individuals in order to really add value to our families and to our marriages, or to ourselves, right? By adding value to ourselves. And that's what I want to talk about tonight. I want to tell you my story. For those of you who don't know me, most of you guys know my entrepreneurial story, but what you don't know is really the reason that I started my business was because of my mom, okay? And it was really by default. This is what happened. I was pregnant with my son about 18 years ago, and my mother made me promise to date myself every single week as a new mom when I was 6 months pregnant. And I didn't even know what a self-care date was. Like, and she didn't know what to tell me to do. She just told me that her story was that she was the mom that did everything for her kids. She dotted all the I's, right? And she crossed all the T's for us, but she didn't do the same thing for herself. And she didn't want me to repeat that in my own motherhood journey. Now, do me a favor, guys. I know you're going to want to write, but I want you to write, and I want you to tap the screen, because when we tap the screen, other people know that this is a valuable scope. And I always like to bring you guys amazing content, okay? And in exchange for that, the heart serve more people. All right. So my mom asked me, I was 6 months pregnant, my first son, if I would consider dating myself every week as a new mom. And I was like, what do I do on a self-care date? I had no idea what to do. So my very first stop, I joined a mom's group. And when I joined that mom's group, I was the only mom that was pregnant. Okay, so I was the mom that was there that was pregnant, but I didn't actually, I didn't have a baby yet, you know, and all these other moms had babies. And what was interesting to me was all of these moms said the same things. I don't have any time for myself. I feel guilty when I do anything for myself. I don't like the way I look anymore. My husband doesn't think I'm beautiful. I don't feel like I'm beautiful anymore. They all said the same thing over and over again. Now, understand that I'm pregnant. Now, I'm still, you know, my husband and I are still dating. I'm still fixed up and doing what I need to do, because I haven't had any impact of motherhood yet, because I am pregnant, okay? So for those of you who are just joining me, I'm Mia Redrick. I'm the Mom Strategist, and I'm going to be talking about today how motherhood and self-care, they are marriage. They are a marriage. And right now I'm sharing my story about really how this whole thing got started for me, this business that is my passion, that is an organic part of who I am, and it's the reason I was created to do the work that I do, is this story, okay? I literally, hey there, do you speak Hausa or Yoruba? Because if you speak Yoruba, I'm going to say, Bawoni, okay? All right, so it was really why I got started. So I was around these moms, they kept saying it over and over again, and then eventually I had my baby, and I had made the decision that I would start motherhood with self-care systems. I wasn't even sure what they would look like, but I knew that I didn't want to say what some of these moms were saying. And since I was so new in motherhood, I could change that for myself. So my husband's Yoruba, and I understand Hausa too. Okay. So, I only know Bawoni and Odabo. Okay. So in Yoruba, that's it. All right. So what I'm going to say is that it was a tremendous gift to have my mom challenge me to date myself every single week. And from the very first weeks in motherhood, I've always spent 90 minutes alone. I dare say that I've dated myself more than any mom in America, probably internationally, because that was my intention from the beginning. So I'm going to ask you guys to do me a favor, heart it up. How are you? And goodbye. That's all I know how to say, right? Bawani and goodbye. I know how to make pounded yam. I know how to make jollof rice. I know how to do a stew, a tomato stew, but that's it. That's it. Okay. I was the matron of honor. One of my friends is Nigerian, and I was the matron of honor in their wedding. All right. So, I want to share this with you because it's such a powerful story. And I think a lot of times when you hear people and you hear their platforms, it's also important to know how they started. This is how I started. It was organic. It was really from my mom saying that she didn't make time for herself. She did not want that to be my story. And as a result of that, I began motherhood literally focused on how to take better care of myself. Is that an incredible gift, or is that an incredible gift? Okay. So today, this conversation is going to be a powerful conversation with you guys, but I hope it doesn't hurt your feelings. I'm really trying not to step on your toes, but I really am trying to step on your toes, because if you have decided that if you've decided that putting yourself last is what your family needs from you, I'm hoping that after hearing the scope today, you're going to understand why we need you to put yourself first, okay? Humbly, we need you to put yourself first. So there are a couple of topics that I have here today that I'm going to talk about. They're hard-hitting, they're hard, fast, and then I'm going to open the floor for your questions, okay? The first is, why self-care makes everything else better. So why self-care makes motherhood better is because you come from a whole place and not an insecure place. All right, you guys got to heart it up. You come from a whole place and not an insecure place. See, when you are not taking great care of yourself or taking great care of your life, you come from an insecure place because you become removed from who you really are. And so what happens is, if you're in relationship with your partner, your spouse, you feel like that they're moving on and maybe they're ignoring you, right? When they're just doing their life. But because you don't have a life, or you've chosen not to have a life, you feel like it's their responsibility to stop what they're doing and pay you some attention to validate for you the things that you haven't validated inside of you. I hope somebody is hearing me, okay? And so the reason that we need you to take great care of yourself in your life is so that you don't ask your spouse to fill a cup that is completely empty. See, at the end of the day, your cup should be full because you're able to fill it. All right. That's your responsibility as a woman. It's so quiet out here. It's like quiet out here. It's like quiet. All right. But I want you guys to get this, right? Because it's so important. I hear this over and over again. I've coached hundreds and hundreds of women, and over again, women are having these battles in their relationships with the people that are closest to them. Hey, Julia. With the people that are closest to them, and not because they need to, but because they are not personally fulfilled themselves. They don't know how to fill their own cup. Hey, Jason, I'm putting a hammer down tonight. You want to crawl under the table. I know. I'm sorry, Tara. But I think we need to have an honest conversation, because a lot of times when we talk about self-care, people like to make it a superficial conversation. This is not a superficial conversation. This is a real conversation. Okay. This is a real conversation. What we need to be talking about is how we can support more moms with understanding that if you take better care of who you are going to add value to every place you are in your family, to your relationship with your kids, to your relationship with your spouse. And there is no way that you could ever ask for a fulfilling relationship and you don't feel fulfilled yourself. See, how are you asking someone to bring to you? Thank you so much, Julia. How are you asking someone to bring you something that you can't believe or trust because you don't trust yourself? Anybody. But I'm just saying, right? And I've seen this over and over again among moms, among women who are in a battle with their families when their only battle really is with themselves. And it's because they haven't made that time. They haven't taken the time to get to know themselves, to love themselves again. And let's be clear, when you are a mom, sometimes there's an adjustment that has to happen, right? I mean, you go from having one kid, you might be fine. Then you go from having one kid to two kids, and you start to get lost in motherhood. Like motherhood starts to take you out, and you can't figure out why because of the demands. I'm just trying to tell Mia, this is the word of the century, right? Right, you're so lost, right? But it's true, and it's important, one, to acknowledge that that's the case, but two, to understand the impact of being lost, and especially all moms. Lee, it happens to everyone. And what's important is to understand when it's happening so that we don't blame the people in our lives for the things that we are responsible for changing. And that's the conversation that I want to have with you guys today, because we don't talk about this enough in motherhood. And whenever we hear people talking about self-care, it's superficial. It's like talking about maintenance care, right? You're not alone. We're talking about maintenance care. People telling you, go get your hair done and go get your nails done. And like, that's going to make you feel great. That's maintenance care. You got to do that. But what I'm talking about is self-care. I'm talking about you getting up in the morning and understanding that the only responsibility I have is to feel good about who I am. Because if you feel good about who you are, everything you touch, every decision that you make is better off because of it. And this is why we need you to show up and do this. This is why we need to do it 90 minutes a day, 90 minutes a week is what I recommend. That's what I've always done to take great care of who I am. And it has allowed me to add value to my relationship. I told you this was an ouch scope. Iris, it's an ouch scope tonight. Today we're talking about how self-care and motherhood are the best friends, okay? And I really need more moms to understand this, because in my world of coaching moms, I meet so many women at war with their partners or with their spouses or with their kids, and they're really at war with themselves. They haven't taken any time alone to get clear about what's best for them, and they're just shooting all around at every single person. And you got to get this straight, ladies. We got to get this straight, and we're in it together. What about if your spouse makes you feel bad about taking time for yourself? Your spouse will not make you feel bad about taking care of yourself if you begin to add value to your relationships. So the second point that I have is you add value to your relationship. See, when you take great care of yourself, you're better able to add value to your relationships, meaning you're able to pinch him. You know what I'm saying? Pinch him, ladies. Okay? All right. You're able to hug him. He's able to see that you are better as a result of it. In my book, this book right here, Time for Mommy, 5 Essential Strategies for Mother Self-Care, I write here, I say that my husband always said, I was ready to love again. See, when I took 90 minutes alone with myself ritualistically, he saw the benefit to him. All right? And you know what? He was like, where you want to go? What you want to do? When you gonna go? Okay? You just got punched. I didn't mean, I didn't hit you, but I didn't mean to. You gotta pinch him, ladies. Do you understand? Like, when you're in the kitchen, you need to be pinching him, all right? Somebody knows what I'm talking about. But a lot of times when you're lost in yourself, you can't add value to your marriage by being intimate in any way, because you're not intimate with yourself. Do you understand that if you don't have an intimate and close relationship with yourself, if you don't feel beautiful about who you are, how is anything he's saying resonating with you? How? It's not, okay? Because what you're looking for is validation of something you do not believe. And the reason that you've got to practice great self-care is because it's when he's saying it to you, you're like, I know, baby. So what you really mean, okay? In opposed to, do you really think this is okay? Do you think I look okay? Are you sure this is all right? You know you're all right, and you're adding value to your relationship. This, to me, is what self-care does. It allows me as a mom to be able to make better choices for my husband, for us. It allows me to make better choices for my kids because I'm clear about what's best for me, and I'm not just making choices in the dark. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You know how we make choices just based on you're tired, too tired to think, so you just say eeny, meeny, miny, mo. There you go. Okay. And then you don't like what you get. we tell our kids all the time, my husband and I said, you get what you get and don't get upset. You better give your wife a lot of relaxing time, then she will attack you, right, in a good way. Yeah, Iris, this is what we're talking about. See, a lot of us are, as moms, we aren't thinking about self-care and adding value. But when you pull back, and that's what you got to say to your husband, you need to say, baby, look, I know I haven't been showing up in our marriage, wink, wink, for you in the way that you want, and it's because I need to spend some time with me consistently. And put yourself on the calendar, and you're consultative about it. You're not like demanding it. You're saying, babe, all right, I'm gonna go to a coffee shop for 90 minutes a week every Saturday morning at this time. You good with this? You got the kids done this time? And he's going to say, okay. You're looking for a yes. That's it. Just say what time will work. And that's your time. But here's the key. When you get a time and you put yourself on that calendar that your kids can see, that your spouse says okay to, right? Meaning, okay, he's going to watch your kids. Not okay, you need to get permission. All right, come on. For those of you out here who are asking, like, what you talking about? That's what I'm talking about. You got to go. You got to go. You got to get up and go. Hey there. Good to see you, Carla. You got to go, okay? And you need not make excuses about why you can't go. Because when you do that, he doesn't take you seriously. You need to understand me on this. For those of you ladies who are married, and for those of you who are single, what you need to do is think ritualistic self-care. That means that your girlfriend you can switch with. Yes, you are amazing. We need this as women and not feel guilty to leave babies with him. Go meet a friend. You can go meet a friend. You need to spend time by yourself. I think that self-care initially should be alone. 90 minutes alone every week. It has allowed me to get clear about what I want to do for myself, for my family. It has allowed me to prioritize what is most important. How do you make great choices for people when you're not clear? How do you make great choices for yourself when you're not clear? How do you make great choices for your marriage when you're not clear? Everything starts with an intention, right? So come on, ladies. Who is in? Okay. If you're in, say I'm in. Like, I know it's going to take work. I know it's going to take work. I know it's a weak muscle. But what we need to do is have an honest conversation about what it takes. Okay. Janine is in. Anybody else in? This is 90 minutes a week. Anybody else in? Anybody else in? Okay. Nick Dreams is in. Okay. Anybody else in, okay? Because at the end of the day, what we need to be able to do is add value to our relationships. Number 3, you need to model what balance looks like for your family, for your kids. See, you know what? A lot of times our kids grow up and they don't have a blueprint. Okay, Angela? Okay, a lot of times our kids grow up and they don't have a blueprint of self-care. They haven't seen anybody taking care of themselves in the household, right? And so they're confused. So when your kids, ladies, this is real good advice. The notes, I know. All right. So a lot of times the kids haven't seen a blueprint of anybody taking care of themselves. So they're confused. So they eventually become moms, right? Just think about your own mom, right? Think about your mom. And did she ever do anything for herself? If so, what did it look like? Okay. Did you ever see her doing anything? Yes, I had to grow to do this. And it took me years after my fourth child and took off to New York alone. Yes, okay? It's very important. And it's interesting because you get to shift the blueprint for your kids. I think one of the greatest gifts that I can give my kids is for them to see mommy on the calendar or know that mommy takes 90 minutes alone because they take 90 minutes all the time by themselves. This is awesome, great advice for young moms. Let me tell you, because I started as a mom and I was pregnant and I had to date myself every week because I promised my mom, I think is one of the best things that ever happened to me because I never not dated myself. I always dated myself 90 minutes a week. And so that meant dating myself. I had to figure out for myself what I wanted to do. I had to fall in love with myself. And what I learned was that when Pat and I would go on dates, that I could add value to that. I wasn't just saying, babe, where we going to go? Babe, where we going to go? What we going to do? Like, he was like, what you like? Okay. Anybody know what they like? Okay. Anybody know what they like? You know, you want to create a great relationship with people. Hey, add value. Know what you want to do. Okay. It's not just up to the guy to figure it out all the time. Jason, right? Okay. I got claps on this, right? It's about being in a relationship with someone that adds value to the experience. That makes it really cool for everyone. I wish I had learned this when I when I first had my first child, my life would have been better, much better. You know what? But like is it Maya Angelou that says this? When you know better, you do better, right? And I think that that's why we have to have these conversations. I mean, I told you tonight was going to be a no filter night. And my only goal really is always in love, because I think it's so important to understand on the other side of not taking care of yourself, what you're missing out on. I believe what is truly selfish is not giving your kids all of who you are. I think it's selfish not for your kids to know that you paint, that you painted, that you dance, that you sing. I think it's selfish for your kids not to know that you could run a business, or that you know that you were an executive. I think it's selfish not to share all of who you are with your kids, because you don't know who you are. And it's your responsibility to do that. And you can do that. Self-care allows you to do that. That's right. Boom, shakalaka. Boom, right? Because a lot of times as moms, we think what's selfish is taking some time off, 90 minutes alone to get clear, when what I believe is everything I have done for myself, I've been able to lend value. My kids benefit from the experience because I'm happier. They're able to see what I'm doing. And as a result of that, it informs their world. I'm able to add value to their world because I feel good about who I am. And I'm not walking around feeling like everybody in my life, my kids are growing, my husband is growing, and I'm stuck. Right? You have a responsibility to give your kids another view. And if you don't like where you are, you can change where you are. It doesn't have to be that. Yes, now I am you're pro on self-care. My kids know now. Mom is taking time. Mom is gone. Mom is in her room. First time my son saw me all dressed up in a business suit, he was so excited. I was like, okay, your kids want to see you. They want to see other sides of who you are. I'll never forget it. I think I told you guys this story. I did a triathlon. I did 3 triathlons a couple years ago. I wanted to learn to swim, right? I couldn't swim, so I decided, since I was scared, that I would start a triathlon team. I invited 11 moms to join me to do this triathlon, right? So it was a small triathlon. It's like 0.75 swim, 3-mile run, and what was the bike ride? It's like 17 miles, 16 and a half miles bike ride, whatever it was, okay? But I had to learn to swim, and I had to learn to open water swim. And I'll never forget it. When my son was there, my oldest son, Patrick, he saw me on the bike riding hard, right? He never, yes, so true. They feel proud to see us wearing different hats and other than cooking, yes. He was like, I never saw you ride hard before. See, I was a mom that was on the family trips riding the bike like really slowly, and he never saw mom gun and run. And it was a good thing for him to be able to see that his mom can gun and run. Yes, she can. Yes, she can. His mom can take a swim lesson, overcome her fear, and face that fear. That's important for your kids to see. And they learn that from you. And, a lot of times as moms, we're so well-intentioned because we want to give our kids the best. And we think that giving them the best means that we can't give anything to ourselves. Now, I know that what I'm saying deserves hearts. Your strength, he saw your power. I'm Mia Redrick. I am the Mom Strategist. I support mostly moms with life and business success, and some dads and families. It has taken me a while to not feel guilty and shameful about taking your me time moments, right? It's so important. And when you do this, it allows you to add value to your kids. They get to see you in a different light. It gives them a blueprint. It shows them how to show up in their relationships powerfully later on. Growing up for me, my mom was the mom that, I don't remember my mom ever watching a movie with us completely. She was the one that prepared the snack, sat down for a minute, started cleaning the question. Not cleaning the question. Julia, okay, ask your question. She started cleaning the table, and before we were done. She was never the person that was sitting back and relax. I don't ever remember that. That was in my blueprint. Okay. If you guys don't mind resetting after 500, I appreciate it. Julia, what are your questions? Okay. Mia, please. Mia is absolutely right. Please take time off for yourself. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Iris. I'll ask at the end. Okay. All right. Number 4, you decide to rescue. Oh, this is so good. Oh, this is good. Okay. You decide to rescue yourself by being honest about your needs. Now, here's the thing. If you ever want to add value to motherhood, you need to decide to rescue yourself. Hear me now. rescue yourself by being honest about what you need. And here's the thing, a lot of us don't want to practice self-care because we don't want to rescue ourselves. We want like somebody to come and mind read. Come on, now you guys know I'm telling you the truth. You want somebody to mind read, like, you know, you're wearing your wear on your shoulders, right? You're like, I'm so weary. I do so much. You're hoping that, you know, somebody just sees what you're doing. You need to rescue yourself. And you need to understand that that is not someone's responsibility. Yes, that was me. Never sat down. You saw your mom and you thought that was the right thing to do. It was a blueprint. And that happens for so many of us. And a lot of us, we wear that. We wear it on our, you know, on your sleeve. You're working so hard and you're hoping that someone rescues you and says that you deserve a break. You need a minute to yourself. You need to understand you have to rescue yourself. You got to understand that, you know what? My husband is like, he would never do some of the stuff that I would think of to do. He would never ask me to do that. And the people in your life aren't asking you to do those things either that you have made a story or created a story around. What they need is for you to be present. What they need for you to do is to be happy. What they need is for you to be fulfilled. And if you're not those things, then they're not getting what they need from you. You need to rescue yourself and not depend on anyone else to meet your needs, the needs that you have. And I meet so many women that'll say, you know, I do this for him or I do this for the kids, and they're just not appreciating what I'm doing. You need to rescue yourself. What do you tell moms that don't have the resources to stop and take time? It doesn't take money to take time. It takes time to take time. Every person can find 90 minutes a week for themselves. 90 minutes. You get 90 minutes a week. Okay. You can take a walk in the park. Okay. There's something that I used to do with the kids when I was home with my kids. I would take them on a walk. It's called blending. It's not money. I would take them on a walk. See, my kids thought that I would take them hiking because they like to hike. That's not true. I took them on hikes because I like to hike. So true, Mia. So true. We want to be super mom. Nobody cares. Kids just want us. Here's the thing. And they want all of us. I would take my kids on these hikes, right? They were small hikes. And because I like to hike. All right. But they thought I took them because they like to hike. They only like to hike because I like to hike. And I called it blending, which is I was doing something for me while I was doing something for them. All right. And I always looked at opportunities. Even now, what can I do for me while I'm doing something for them? If I'm taking you to your gymnastics, what can I do for me here? Can I have a cup of tea? All right. Can I walk around the track? What can I do wherever I am in carpool? Can I start writing my book while I'm sitting in carpool waiting for them? So I'm always looking and being very intentional about what I can do for myself while I'm taking great care of my kids. And you can do that too. And it doesn't cost any money to do that. It takes intention. You got to take time to think about where you're going to be living that day. Am I going to be at the playground? Am I going to be at the park? I remember as a routine, as a mom, when my kids were really young, I would put them in the car, take them to the park, put them in the car, they'd fall asleep after playing at the park. And that was my time to read a book. People would ask me all the time, when did you have time to read a book? Well, I'd take them to the park. They would eat a little lunch, put them in the car, drive around in a circle. They would always fall asleep. And therefore, how long did it take you to get to that point? Wasn't speaking monetarily. Okay. All right, Janine. Okay. It took me to become really good. Like now I have like a black belt, like, hi, yeah. Okay. In self-care dates, maybe a year, I date myself 90 minutes a week. Like maybe minus like 6 months since I've had my kids. I had some medical issues and I couldn't date myself like away. Other than that, I've always dated myself 90 minutes a week. Yep, left now. That's me. I drag them to walks, hikes, meet friends at park, dance. You use the gym. Anytime I am putting my kids in an activity, I am going to make sure that whatever activity they're in, I'm like Googling or searching what is here for me. Like, what can I do for me? Can I take a class here? What's across the street? I'm looking at what I can do for me. I'm going to do me while I'm doing them. All right. And that it's going to be win-win all the time. And it's just been a really cool part of my system of how I do it. And therefore, I always feel like I'm getting me time in. Me time is not optional for me. Me time allows me to they're always doing something. So I'm always got some opportunity to do something for myself. And that's how I look at it. And I've never made it expensive at all. It could be a walk in the park. It could be going to Barnes and Nobles. bookstore to, flip through some magazines that you want to read or a new book that you want to read, you're thinking about. It could be anything like that. So it doesn't have to be expensive. All right. And Janine, re-ask your question so that I can make sure I answer that. Okay. The next thing is you got to rescue yourself. Let me just recap. You've got to come from a whole place and not an insecure place. Remember, we said that. That was number 1. Okay. Number 2 was you've got to add value to your relationships. Number 3, you need to decide to rescue yourself by being honest about what you need and not expect other people to do that. Hey, Keisha, good to see you. Good to see you. Okay. And number 4, you got to model what balance looks like for your family. All right. And a lot of us, we aren't modeling what it looks like. So our kids won't know what it looks like. And as a result of that, what will happen is they will duplicate us. You have a responsibility to change what that looks like in your family. Okay. Just because your mom didn't date herself, just because your mom didn't practice any self-care, you need to be modeling what balance looks like for your family. And what I have learned, and this is what I believe, is that imbalance is the greatest gift of all times. There is never a time, hear me on this now, you're like, imbalance, right? But hear me on this, right? So a lot of moms are talking about work-life satisfaction, work-life balance. Yes, but think about the number of times your life was perfectly balanced. Maybe once. You might have had one perfect day in motherhood, but you have a lot of days that are imbalanced. I work hard and you travel a lot. Yes. Okay, Keisha. But you have a lot of days that are imbalanced, but imbalance is your gift because imbalance tells you what you need. And a lot of us fight that, but you need to understand, you need to be writing down, like, when something's not out of whack, that's when you need to create systems. That's when you start looking at imbalance is there to support you. And you need to be asking those crucial questions like, what do I need? What is this imbalance telling me that I need? Do I need a sitter? Do I need to ask my husband to help me? Do I need to ask the kids to help me? Do I need to make sure my girlfriend and I, we're switching so that we can support one another? If you guys don't mind resetting so we can make sure we put hearts on the scope. I let balance go a long time ago. Best thing I ever did. It's about priorities for you. Absolutely. It's about prioritizing yourself. It's about understanding that imbalance is really your friend. See, whenever something's not working, I'm like, it needs a system. See, imbalance means what do I need so that I can create a system around this thing so that it doesn't impact or doesn't impede me. You guys with me? Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So, and then the next thing is you need to create a family culture that taking care of yourself isn't a bonus, but it's a necessity. See, I believe that your self-care is a non-negotiable. You love and take care of yourself first. Yes. Yes, Keisha. You need to create a culture in your family where self-care is like a language you guys speak. Like your kids are saying, of course mom is reading and spending time alone right now. Because don't you need time alone? Okay, this is what we can do as moms. It's such a powerful thing. Like your kids, they live what they learn what they live, right? But at the end of the day, you can create a culture in your family where your kids, their language is that they need me time. You need me time. Mommy's taking me time right now. She's spending 30 minutes. She's reading, okay? So what you need to understand is that that is a gift that you can extend to your kids by having a language that you're speaking within your home. If your kids don't understand what me time is or self-care is, it's because it's not a language that you guys are sharing. So we're going to stop for a second, okay? You walk, you run, and you hike, okay? I'm going to ask you guys to heart it up, okay? Because what we want to do is support more moms. Thank you so much, Janine. We want to support more moms, right? If you don't mind resetting after 500, it's important so that we can support more moms in understanding that they got to stop making excuses about not taking care of themselves, because when they do that, all their relationships are impacted as a result of them not knowing themselves and not loving themselves. And we want to change that, right? And we got to change that by sharing this message, because so often everything that everybody's hearing out there is so superficial. Hey, darling, good to see you. It's so superficial. And the reality is, we need to have people talking about the truth. Like, how do you turn that thing around? Like, if I haven't been dating myself, if I haven't been loving myself, if I have been blaming my husband for what not loving me because I don't know, even if he says that I look great, I don't believe it. Thank you so much, guys. We're at 376,000 in 40 some days. Is that not amazing? And I appreciate you guys. My goal is to support more moms with this message and to touch more people, right? And I need you guys to help me do it. All right? Because you know what people are talking about. You know what people see on TV, and it's not real stuff that makes families get better. And that's what I'm into. Like, if you're talking about you want to have a great marriage, I'm into that. Anybody into that? Or you want to? I like trips. Stay away from the superficial.com, right? I do too. That's me, right? And if that's the case, if we like that, then you got to support that. And the only way we can support that, right, is on platforms like this with an authentic message by hearting it up so that people say, hey, that's a message that I hadn't heard that before, or that's a message I can use. Maybe that's a message that'll save my marriage. Maybe that's a message that'll allow me to be a better mom, a better wife. Okay, so that's so important. Just want to speak that. All right. Okay, thank you, Jason. I appreciate it. Okay, so you create a family culture that taking care of yourself is the way it goes. You begin to speak a different language. Your kids start putting me time signs up. Your kids start reading by themselves because that's what you are doing. And it's so, so important. Fist bump, boom. Okay? It's so, so important for us as moms to speak a different language and teach our kids a language. If you don't have self-care going on in your home, you're just not speaking a self-care language. That's the only reason why. Your kids can learn the language, but you've got to learn it first, okay? So in my family, my kids understand that we're all a part of making life groovy for one another. And that's our language. That's our culture within the family. And you guys had a chance earlier today to meet some of my kids, right? No, well, I only have 3 kids, so you met them all, okay? They're like, what did I just say? I don't even understand what I just said. Some of my kids, 3. I have 3. Okay. Okay. And then also, you never ask anyone to give you anything that you can. This was so good. Okay. Never ask anyone to give you something that you can't value or appreciate because it's foreign to you. So the reason that self-care is important is you don't want to ask anyone to give you something that you cannot value or appreciate because it's foreign to you. And that's what happens when we don't take great care of ourselves, right? Yes, I know. Okay. You can catch it at catch.me, Julia, okay? You unconsciously wanted, what? No. Okay, stop it, okay? Stop it right now. All right, let's get that straight, all right? I don't even know why I said that. I have a turtle. All right, so, but you cannot ask anything from someone or value or appreciate what anyone is saying to you if you do not believe it yourself. And the reason that self-care is so important is because so often we're asking our spouses to validate who we are. We're asking our friends to say that we're great, and we're feeling like unappreciated by our kids because we aren't fully appreciating ourselves. If you're looking in that mirror and you don't like what you see, that's your responsibility to change that. And you can change that. But it doesn't change because you're frustrated with yourself, because you're judging yourself, okay? It changes because you take an action in the direction that you want to go. And yeah, you might have to have some accountability. You might have to join a gym and have your personal trainer calling you up on the phone to get you to come in. You might need a coach to say, hey, you need a routine around you and you need to check in with them, right? Catch.me. You guys need to check out my scopes from earlier today. I deleted them all on Periscope by mistake. I don't even understand. But in any event, I interviewed my kids, and you'll have an opportunity to meet my children in real time. They're pretty cool, cute scopes that I did earlier today. I know. But you can catch them at catch.me, catch, KATCH.me, and they're great. You might have to stop stress eating. You might have to stop stress eating. You might have to, go on a date with yourself so that when your spouse says, what would you like to do tonight, you can inform the process. Yes, that's how we create a better world. it begins with us, moms and dads too. Right, it's legacy, it's changing that. I always think it's so tough sometimes when I coach couples, right? And I go in, I'll coach a couple, and then, the husband and wife, they're having issues, and they have these beautiful children. And inevitably, the wife is telling me about how he doesn't take her out anymore. He doesn't think she's beautiful anymore. She doesn't feel beautiful anymore. And find healthy ways to reduce stress of work and family. Yes. And the truth of the matter is, I'll ask the question. I'll just flip the question. I'll say, it's not about him. It's about you. All right. What would you like to do? Like, if he were going to take you out, what would you like to do? And then most often, she can't tell me what she wants to do. Right. So can you imagine you're a guy trying to take somebody out, and every place you ask them that they want to go, they don't know if that's where they want to go. And then this person is saying, you don't want to take me out, right? The guy is confused, guys. Ladies, they're confused because you are not adding value to the conversation. You don't know what you want. You don't know if you want seafood or you want beef. So therefore, he's saying, what do you want? Like, what do you want to do? And after a while, it gets tiring to be trying to drag somebody to do something who doesn't know what she wants. The reason you need to date yourself. BuzzFeed did a video on this, okay? I don't even know what BuzzFeed is. Great point. Be decisive. Be decisive. Know what you want. Understand that self-care allows you to have clarity around who you are, what your choices are. And as a result of that, you can inform the process. And you never ask anyone to give you something you can't value or appreciate. And that's what happens. Sometimes a guy might bring you flowers, or your kids might bring you a gift. You can't value it because you don't see that in yourself. So therefore, you think it's not enough. Okay? You think it's not enough, right? And it's so important. The reason that you can't appreciate it is because you don't feel you deserve it. And that's why I think it's so important to have this conversation with moms about self-care, because it's really changed my relationship, and to be able to articulate your desires. You got to know what you want. Self-care and self-love. You have to love who you are. The woman before the mom. Absolutely. You need to know your desires. Absolutely. And I think a lot of us, we don't talk about it. And when we get in a room of other women, we talk about things sometimes that don't add value to our relationship. We don't talk about like what we need to be talking about, how to make it better. All right. How to make ourselves better. Right. How to have conversations, not whining conversations about what's not working in the relationship, but what's not working within you. Okay. So what's not working within you that's making that relationship not work? Okay. Because great relationships don't happen by accident. They happen because you like yourself, and the person you're dealing with, they like themselves, and together you guys get to create something great. The same is true with your kids. Sometimes moms are at war with their kids. Why? Because they're at war with themselves. All right. So I wanted to have that conversation. But that takes honesty, and the truth hurts. Look, the truth hurts. And you know what? Living without the truth hurts too. It means that you've got relationships that don't have transparency, that don't have true intimacy, that love doesn't fully show up in those relationships because people can't be vulnerable. And great relationships, we talked about this before, require vulnerability, right? You got to be able to say whatever it is that you need. You need to be able to, you need to be able to do that. I want to open the floor for a minute because I know that there were a couple of questions that you guys had for me, and you've been listening to me for a period of time. Are there any questions that you guys have for me? All right. Thank you so much. We're at 377, right? You have to have honesty and openness. We talk about shoes a lot and hating on other women, right? I mean, you know what? The thing is, you need to be talking about things that are going to add value to your world. And if it's not adding value to your world, it's an irrelevant conversation. And I find that what I want to do, I want to have a conversation with some women that are going to tell me, Mia, what you need to do, you want to show up better as a mom? These are the things you need to do. These are the things you need to improve in you. Okay, so you can do that. Somebody asked me earlier today about, what do you do if your kids are like disrespectful? And, how do you deal with that? And I said, one of the things that is important to understand is that kids don't wake up disrespectful. You know what I mean? They're not born disrespectful. They start off, they come down the steps and it's breakfast and you let your kid walk past you and not say good morning. That's how it starts. You know what I'm saying? So as a parent, you need to make those small tweaks along the way and understand that it's your responsibility to tweak what isn't working. Okay, you stop being disrespectful, right? You stop, or they're mirroring what you are doing, okay? Equally, in the family. Come on, somebody, right? Yeah, Janine, they mimic what they see. They mimic what they see, and they mimic also the lack of love. So what I find is that when I decide that I'm not going to show up as a mom, and I see that you're doing something that potentially isn't cool, I'm not showing up for you. That's shame on me, right? You walk down the steps and you decide that morning you're too tired to say good morning. You need to go back up the steps and come back down and do it again. That's my responsibility to show up for you and let you know you don't treat people that you love that way. See, that's what moms do. That's what dads do, right? That are present for their kids. But like sometimes we get too tired, right? We're too frustrated. We're too busy with the things that don't matter instead of helping our kids with the small things. Big things start as small things. Big things don't start as big things. I've seen it tons of times. With my kids, now I have 2 teenagers, and yes, you got to stay in it. Excellent point you're teaching, right? I got to say that, with my kids, if they will tell you if they do anything that is just off card, that's just crazy, just give me your phone. I'm not even going there with you. Just give me your phone. That's it. Give me your phone. Give me your phone. Give me your phone. You might have to write me a letter to get it back, but give me your phone. Give me your phone. I'm paying for that phone. Give me your phone. What if it's too late now for change? Marriage is down the drain. Illness due to no self-care. Well, it's never too late to have a new start. So maybe the marriage is down the drain. If you guys aren't together anymore, it's time to start all over again, meaning start working on who you are, creating a vision of what good looks like for you in your life. I think that just because some things don't work or didn't work doesn't mean that what's to come cannot work. Sometimes the best things that happen is clearing the way. And if you were on the scope the other night, Julia, I think you were, sometimes you need to just let it go. Just let it go and understand that I think sometimes if we face divorce, in particular, sometimes it's easy to feel like if something didn't work, that means that other things won't work, or it's an indictment about who you are. It's not. It's just part of the story. It's like writing a book and having 12 chapters. Just write chapter 13. Chapter 13 is, okay, she learned her lesson, and now here we go. Like you moving on. You don't have to be defined by the things that didn't work. You are refined by them. And it's a matter of how you decide to process moving forward, or if you decide to process moving forward or not. And a lot of my clients who have dealt with, a relationship that didn't work, a lot of times they are still grieving what could have been. And what I recommend to them, and I recommend to a lot of clients, is therapy. Like therapy is like a good thing, right? Because what you have to understand is that grief does not just apply to death and dying. Grief applies to major losses in our lives, right? Divorce can be an open door to redevelop. It can be freeing. Yes, it can. And if, in fact, you need to move on, sometimes you have to do therapy so that you can let go of whatever it is, or understand the stages of that you're grieving in that current moment. So I recommend therapy. As it relates to illness, I know illness can be tough because my husband had grief applies to loss of any kind. Absolutely. For my husband, when he was on dialysis, I remember when he first got his diagnosis, he was so concerned, obviously, about what he wouldn't be able to do. And he was beginning to define his life. True story. This is what happened. He was trying to define his life by it, our life by it. And I remember we were getting ready to plan a vacation away out of the country. And he was like, I can't go, because he was doing home dialysis. And he was like, I can't go. I have these boxes. I have these machines and all this stuff. And I told him, I said, what you need to do is you need to make peace with these machines and this box. If you're going to vacation with us and we get ready to go, then you're going to have to figure out what you're going to do with those boxes. And he called somewhere and they said it's like $2,500 or something to transport these boxes or whatever it is. And he came back. He was like, I can't go. It's like $2,500. And I said, Patrick, we are going to go. And you can go. But you got to understand, you got to make peace with that. Is it going to cost $2,500 for the boxes to come? Then that's what it is. And you got to know that. And if that means we go once a year or twice a year, whatever, that's what it is. All right. And it ended up not being that because we got some kind of medical waiver or whatever it was. I don't even know. But what it did for him, he had made a story in his mind that based on being ill, he thought he could no longer do the things he wanted to do. And he was attached to that. And he was trying to recreate that story. And me saying, we get ready to go without you. You coming? And he came on vacation. And I knew if we could travel out of the country that he wouldn't have any issues traveling within the States. And so we traveled all over. I know, we traveled all around with them boxes, girl. We traveled all around because it's not what you can't do, it's what you can do, right? And that's the most important thing. And I always try to share the stories with you guys because it's real. Okay, it's real. And we had a health crisis. He got a kidney transplant last year successfully. He's doing amazing. But there is a tremendous fear when you have an illness and you are scared, right? And you're afraid. And sometimes we think that it's the end. The stories we tell ourselves define us. And they frighten us at times. And I think that's why you have to have a community and you have to have people that say to you, you can do this. All right. You can do this. Right. And you might need to have a different kind of support. You might have to have a therapist. Yeah. Okay. You might have, yeah. Okay. You might need to have a therapist. You might need to have a coach. Yeah. Okay. You know, you might need to have a whole different set of friends, accountability partners that say, hey, Julie, it's about you, a routine around you, understanding what can I do, not defining your life based on what you can't do. Because that doesn't feel good no matter what. So it doesn't matter whether you had an illness or not. It doesn't feel good to define your life by what you cannot do. You got to define your life by what you can do. And you can do a lot. You typing a lot. Did like 5,000 hearts, like 10,000 hearts, like 100,000 hearts. I mean, there's a lot you can do here, Julia. And you are an amazing, beautiful being, right? I saw you scoping the other day. You can talk, Julia. Okay, there's a lot you can do. So the question is, what can you do and not what can't you do, and being clear about that. And maybe it's just asking yourself over and over again, what can I do? What can I do? How can I show up for me? You know what I mean? How can today be better than tomorrow? That's all it is. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make tomorrow better than it was today. I work in dialysis. We had home care patients to receive Texas and center while vacationing. Oh, Lord, right. We would travel and we found dialysis centers everywhere. That's where Pat would go and be dialyzed when we were away. It was great. It worked beautifully. He did peritoneal dialysis. I think I'm saying that right, peritoneal dialysis for a couple of years, and then he would go to dialysis centers the other time. So we've seen the gamut of all of it. We carried those boxes everywhere. That's what my kids are used to. They understand this is just what it is. This is how the Redricks travel. You know what I'm saying? It's like having an infant. You got to take the car seat. We got to take the boxes. All right? We're not going to have any issues around these boxes. They got to come. All right? That's it. All right? And that's that. And I think a lot of times we struggle around those things that get hard. Don't struggle around them. His treatment is over. He got a kidney transplant last year in March. They called us one morning, and 12 hours later, he had a kidney transplant that worked. And he was picked first time out. And you know, you're when you show up at the dialysis center, at the hospital, it's you against other people. They're running your labs and decide who's the best fit for the kidney. And Pat got picked, and it was amazing. It was beautiful. Like, it was an incredible gift to us, and just a blessing, just an absolute blessing. He was on the list for 5 years. So I want to say that to you guys. Are there any other questions for me? Won't he do it? He did it. He did it, okay? And on my vision board, I had 110% healing done, okay? A kidney transplant for Patrick, and 110. It was on my vision board. Like, I can show it to you guys. This is what's so cool about it. Wait a minute. All right, let me see if you guys can see it. It's green. It's right here. Right here. Can you guys see it? Can you see it? So on my vision board... Okay, I had to get Pat a kidney and successful operation, surgery, and recovery. 110% healing done. See, I'm not talking about like telling you something that I'm not doing. I'm talking about sharing with you what we did do and hoping that somebody out here is blessed because it worked and because God is good and amazing. And I don't think we have enough people that are pulling back the layers and saying, this is how they did it. Like, I'm going to tell you, this is what we did, right? That's the mom strategist. That's how she does it, right? Come on, tell the people, right? I want to tell more people because we need to help more people out here. And God has been absolutely amazing. What's cool is, as it relates to self-care, that all of this was going on and I still could find 90 minutes a week to myself. I still could build my business. I did 3 triathlons when Pat was on dialysis. I'm just saying, people. And so it's possible. And if you are a mom and you're loaded with excuses about, I can't do this, you can do it. Once you make up your mind that you want to do it, you can do it. And I'm not saying it like from a place of, like it takes a lot of money. It doesn't take a lot of money. It takes consideration. You have to decide that this is what you deserve. And once you decide that this is what you deserve, you will create a process for it and you'll make it happen. You guys know what time it is, right? So, anybody know? Okay. So if you're new to my scopes, what you have to understand about me is that I am Lionel Richie's biggest fan. Now, what that really means to you is that each of my scopes, I do share a Lionel Richie song. Like, look, your neighborhood and decide, right? Look at your neighborhood and decide, right? All right, so each of my scopes, I share a Lionel Richie song, and my hope is that you'll come to love Lionel Richie as much as I do, okay? So I'm going to play one of his songs, okay, which is one of my favorite songs today. All right, one second. Oh, I love the song. This is like one of my favorite Lionel Richie songs, okay, of all times. Can you guys hear this? Okay. All right. Now, what we do during the Lionel Richie songs is we heart it up, okay? I've seen Lionel Richie 9 times. I am Lionel Richie's biggest fan. Sorry, look at your neighbor and say, decide. Look at your neighbor, right? Look at me, guys, and say, decide, okay? Okay, this is when we heart it up, guys. I love this song so much. Like, every time I see him in concert and sings this, I just, like, lose my mind. Just think about this for a minute. Like, imagine your husband saying this to you. Say out loud. Like, he's saying that you're once, you're twice, you're 3 times a lady. Now, tell me that's not something. I love the song. 3 times. He said you're 3 times. Is that not amazing? You hear this, people? Like, oh my gosh, I like lose it in concert because this is like, you're 3 times. Not 1 time, 3 times. I'm just saying. I'm like Lionel Richie's biggest fan, and if you're new to my scopes, you just need to know. And if you join me right now, you've joined at the right time because we heart it up whenever I play Lionel Richie music, which is on every one of my scopes. I'm Mia Redrick. I'm the mom strategist. I'm Lionel Richie's biggest fan, and if you know him, you need to let him know. I am. I love you. So I was like losing, like, ah! And my husband's like, I knew it was gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't take earplugs though. A little bit more. Listen to this. The moments. The moments I cherish. Can you imagine with every beat of your heart? Gosh. Guys, do you hear this? I'm just saying. Hear this? Okay. All right, one more. This last part. Oh my gosh. This is just so beautiful. All right. So, I'm Mia Redrick. I'm the mom strategist. I support moms with life and business success. You guys can always check me out. I know. Hey there, beautiful. It takes a beautiful person to call another beautiful. I support moms with life and business success. Now, if I do Endless Love, I might cry, Jason. Okay. I don't think I can handle these 2 songs tonight. Okay. But I support moms with life and business success. I've coached over 400 clients. 112 of them are authors. Half of them are #1 Amazon bestsellers. What I love to do is to take take your ideas, take the things that you organically do, and take those and turn those into products that you monetize. I do work with a small number of clients who are guys. Most of my clients are moms. And the reason I love working with moms is because a lot of times when you're a mom and you want to start a business, people want to ignore the fact that you are a mom. And I'm like, you serious? How are we going to ignore the fact that I'm a mom? Like, how are we going to ignore the fact that, like, I actually have to go, when I go to carpool, I actually have to be in carpool for like an hour and a half. Like, we can't ignore that I'm a mom. Like, actually, when I get home, I actually have to make dinner before I can do anything, okay? And then I got to check homework. I got stuff. So I like to create systems for moms so that they understand that, showing up for yourself in your life will also allow you to show up in your business. You were at the concert when they had him and Diana Ross sing this together, but she was a holograph. Oh, I would have totally flipped out. I haven't seen her sing this with him. I have seen he's had the background girl come up and sing, and then sometimes I think I'm singing with him, but I'm really not. You know what I'm saying? Like the last concert we saw him at last year, GW, the security guard, every time I went to the stage, because we're up front, he was like this. And me and Redrick, Lionel Richie's #1 fan, somebody tell this man, please tell him it was awesome the first time that was done, I believe. Really, he is so amazing, and his voice is incredible. And it's, and it's a concert where all of his songs are in the top 10 or 5, really. So everybody sings along everything. So it's absolutely fabulous. He sounds great. I've loved Lionel Richie since college. I am his #1 fan. And that's that. And once I go to every concert, everyone knows that I am. He is a prolific writer, and I think that's why I like him, because he's a lyricist. And I love words. And I have all these clients that take what they know and package what they do, and I'm into that. Harold is an alpha. You'll have him track him at the next convention. Yeah, do that. All right, do that. Okay. All right. So I'm Mia Redrick. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Did you enjoy the scope today? All right. So we talked about don't pull a misery. No, I'm not crazy like that. No, I'm not that. But I am a fan. Okay. I am a huge fan, but I'm not crazy. I'm actually not crazy in real life. I think she was crazy maybe, in real life. And therefore she was crazy, on the screen. You know what I'm saying? I'm just teasing, but she was crazy. All right. I'm not crazy, but I am crazy about Lionel Richie. Awesome scope. Thanks for Scary. Okay. All right. Any questions? I'm still recovering, but I loved it. Okay. What are you recovering? Oh, I know. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to punch you, right? I didn't mean, but I wanted to be straight with you and share something that I knew would really benefit you and your family and your children, right? Today we were talking about how self-care and motherhood goes together, and I just, you're losing it over there, right? I wanted to make sure that I talked about what was real in motherhood, because we never talk about how self-care allows you to show up so much more powerfully for your family because you showed up for yourself. And a lot of women are asking their family, I'm punching people. Anitra, I was just saying what needs to be said, in love. And that's what good friends do, right? Good friends shake it up. Sometimes a good friend will punch you, smack you on the back of your head. That's what good friends do. And they don't walk past you and say, hey, that's okay. You know what I mean? They're saying, hey, get yourself together. All right. In this 2016, we're trying to get ourselves together. We're trying to get our marriages together. We're trying to get ourselves together. All right. She said deep punches, right? Okay. And if you guys joined me, just joining me, you have to catch the replay. The highlights were, you have to come from a whole place, not an insecure place. That's why self-care is important. You need to add value to your relationships. Okay. You need to balance. You need to model what balance looks like for your family. Okay, I know. You need to decide to rescue yourself by being honest about your needs. You need to rescue yourself, okay, and not ask your husband to do for you what you're not willing to do for you, or your partners, or your friends, okay, all right? You need to create a family culture that taking care of yourself is a necessity, okay, not optional. And last, you need to never, ask anyone to give you anything that you can't value. So don't ask people around you to give you things that you can't appreciate because you don't like or know yourself, okay? And that's the deal, all right? I have enjoyed sharing with you guys tonight. I'm Mia Redrick. Again, I'm the Mom Strategist. You can always check me out at miaredrick.com and sign up for my newsletter list. You can check out my previous scopes on catch.me, K-A-T-C-H.me, all right, K-A-T-C-H.me. It's been a pleasure, and I'll talk to you guys soon, okay? Bye. Talk to you soon. Thank you so much. I appreciate Dope Scope. Thank you so much.